Right now, as you listen to me, you have a silent certainty inside you, a kind of intimate pride, a comfortable idea that has always accompanied you. I am a good person. I wouldn't hurt anyone. I wouldn't cross certain limits. I wouldn't be capable of becoming someone horrible. And precisely there, the problem begins. Because almost all the people who have done terrible things in history thought exactly the same before doing them. They didn't wake up one day saying, "Today I'm going to be a monster." They woke up being normal people, with routines, with fears, with justifications, with reasonable excuses, like you, like me. The disturbing question is not whether bad people exist in the world. The truly uncomfortable question is another one. What would have to happen for you to become one of them? You don't like thinking about it. I know. Nobody does. We prefer to believe that good and evil are clear, separate things, almost biological. That good people are born good and monsters are born defective. But psychology has been demolishing that fantasy for decades. And one of the hardest blows was delivered by a man named Philip Zimbardo. Zimbardo didn't ask why bad people do bad things. That's easy. He asked something much more disturbing. Why good people do horrible things. And the answer was devastating. Evil does not usually arise from exceptional individuals, but from ordinary situations, from contexts, from environments, from small decisions that seem harmless at first. Everything always starts the same way, with something small, a minimal concession, a rule you break because it's no big deal, a white lie, an unfair advantage, an uncomfortable silence. It's not a fall, it's a small step, so small that you don't even feel it. And what's dangerous about that first step is that it doesn't change your identity. You're still you. You still see yourself as a good person. You've just learned something new, that you can cross a line, and the world doesn't collapse. From there on, the next lines become easier and easier to cross. Because your character is not a rock. It's more like wet sand. It takes the shape of the mold you put it in. You change depending on who you're with, where you are, who's watching you, what is expected of you. You're not the same with your family as with your friends. You're not the same alone as in a group. You're not the same when people are watching as when no one sees you. Your identity is more fragile than you'd like to admit. Now add another explosive ingredient, authority. When someone with power tells you what to do, something switches off inside you. A critical part, an uncomfortable part, a part that asks, "This is wrong." And another much more dangerous voice turns on. "I'm just following orders. It's not me. It's the system. It's the company. It's the boss. It's the rule. It's the law." And then something psychologically fascinating happens. Responsibility dissolves. You no longer feel the action is yours. It's as if your hands move, but the guilt belongs to someone else, to another instance, to another level. That's what the Milgram experiment revealed. Normal, educated, empathetic people inflicting real harm on others just because an authority figure asked them to in a calm voice. They didn't shout, they didn't insult, they didn't seem evil. They simply obeyed. And while you obey, another even more dangerous phenomenon appears. You start to justify. If I do it, there must be a reason. If they ask me to, it must be necessary. If it's allowed, it must be right. Your mind is a machine that manufactures stories that allow you to keep seeing yourself as a good person while doing things that, from the outside, are atrocious. Now add anonymity, uniforms, crowds, screens, numbers instead of names, faceless profiles, when no one recognizes you, when no one identifies you, when no one looks you in the eyes, morality becomes soft, flexible, malleable. You're not Juan, you're not Marta, you're a user, you're a guard, you're a soldier, you're a moderator. You're just one more, and one more doesn't feel, one more just executes. But there is an even darker step. The most dangerous of all, dehumanization. The exact moment when you stop seeing the other as someone like you, when they're no longer a person, but a label, a group, a mass, an enemy, a problem, an obstacle. At that instant, something breaks inside. Because empathy only works between humans, we don't feel guilt when stepping on an ant. We don't feel remorse when deleting a file. We don't feel compassion for an object. And when you turn someone into something, anything becomes possible. That's why atrocities never start with violence. They start with words, with metaphors, with jokes, with labels, with seemingly harmless remarks that slowly erode your perception of the other until it no longer hurts to harm them. And here comes the final mental trick: clean language. Language anesthetizes. Language that turns torture into enhanced interrogation, murder into collateral damage, repression into order, control into security. Words don't just describe reality, they shape it, they dress it up, they make it digestible. That's how normal people do inhuman things without feeling like monsters. Because psychologically they aren't. They are gears, they are pieces, they are functions within a narrative that allows them to sleep peacefully at night. And the most disturbing part of all is this: you are not different. Not because you're bad, but because you're human. And the same mechanisms live in your brain. The same tendency to obey, to justify, to dilute guilt, to follow the group, to look the other way. The difference between you and someone who has done something terrible is not moral. It's situational, it's contextual, it's circumstantial. That's what hurts the most to accept. But here comes the part almost no one talks about. The part Zimbardo also discovered. The uncomfortable but luminous part. If evil is situational, then good is too. Just as there are contexts that push toward cruelty, there are moments that awaken heroism. And not the epic heroism of movies, but real heroism. Everyday heroism. Silent heroism. Uncomfortable heroism. The heroism of saying no when everyone says yes. The heroism of speaking up when nobody wants trouble. The heroism of taking responsibility when it would be easier to hide. The heroism of seeing humanity where others see labels. Most people who perform heroic acts don't feel brave. They feel scared, doubtful, insecure. But they act anyway. Not because they are special, but because they choose not to delegate their conscience. That is the real psychological battle. Not between good and evil, but between going with the flow or stopping to think. Between obeying or questioning. Between justifying yourself or taking responsibility. It's not about trusting that you're a good person. That's passive. That's comfortable. That's dangerous. It's about watching yourself, observing yourself, suspecting your own justifications, asking yourself again and again, am I doing this because it's right or because it's easy? Because I decided it or because everyone else is doing it? Because I truly believe it or because it's convenient to believe it? Because the real monster is not the one who enjoys evil. It's the one who commits it, convinced that they are doing the right thing. And the real hero is not the one who feels no fear. It's the one who acts despite it. In the end, there is no clear line between good and evil. There is a moving boundary that crosses your mind every day. In every small decision, in every silence, in every excuse, in every look you turn away. And the most disturbing part of all is not that you might fall. The most disturbing part is that every day you are choosing whether you move a little closer to the abyss or a little closer to your best version. If you made it this far, comment, "I do not cross boundaries," and I will personally reply to you. And if this resonated with you, subscribe to be part of it and leave a like if you enjoyed it.